Ujai, greetings and welcome to episode of the Gated Gates podcast. My name's Kenny Bashu Kebtah, and today I'll be your host. I'm here with my co-host for today's show. Introduce yourself, sir. This is Awaz. And our esteemed guest.
Efeosa, Iyalekhue.
Oh, we hit him with the real shit today. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so we got my guy Mitch from marketing, Efeosa, here with us today. But before we get into our conversation with our guest, I want to acknowledge the non-material, all of my ancestors, your ancestors, his ancestors, all of those things in the non-material that are connecting us across oceans and space and time. And to be specific, I want to acknowledge the one who started all of this, Nebnabala Musa Moro Denibig, the Makaru, the prophet of the traditions, the truth teller that understood and is helping all of us continuously to understand that the sun does not set, it is the man that moves away from the light. So, today, what's good, Mitch? I'm going to call you Efeosa for the whole episode since you popped it off like that. We're going to talk about that. But this is Efeosa, everybody. All right.
Before we start, could you tell me the meaning of your name? Just fellow African, I know that every name we give
My
in
bad.
Africa.
I messed up. I had y'all mics muted.
Okay. So intro again.
So intro again.
Y'all don't got to do it again.
Okay.
That's Awaz. This is Efeosa. And the show is starting.
Right. Let's
Boom.
do it.
Gotcha.
So what was the question?
No, I was saying, as a fellow African, I know that traditionally, culturally, when we name, our children, it comes with like a very deep meaning. So, I've never heard your name before, so I would love to hear the meaning of your name.
Yeah. My family's from Edo State in Nigeria. It's a lot of bigger tribes than ours, and our tribe is a smaller tribe, but still known in Benin as far as like Edo State. So my name is coming from the Edo tribe, and Efeosa means God's kingdom.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And the last name?
Iyalekhue, more or less. It's a crazy story about how last names work, right?
Come on, give it to us, Mitch.
And I learned this more recent. My pops ended up transitioning a year and some change ago, and all his brothers came, and I always see the last names. So it's two sets of last names, and the current last name that we bear is based off of who took care of my grandfather, my father's father, right? So who he stayed with, he ended up bearing the last name of his uncle, like another family member versus like his father. Funny enough.
I see.
So
But is it still blood?
It's still blood, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it like his father's brother?
Something like that, and then within the way they
Because
pass
it'd be
tradition,
like mad kids.
yeah, the way they pass tradition is like first name, last name. So when you have a son, you take on the first name as the last name, and then so on and so forth.
Passes
To
on
keep
like
the
that.
name.
So to keep the name. So yeah, what ended up happening within that is then my grandfather bear the last name Iyalekhue, and then from there you kind of see how it passes down. But some of the kids bear the original last name.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What's the original last name?
the original last name is I would have to look at it.
All right,
'Cause I
now.
don't see it. I don't see
Did
it
you
on
send
the
this?
normal.
Did you send the link to your mother?
Huh?
Did you send the link to mom?
She locked it.
All right.
No.
Don't let her hear that part. You can't be forgetting stuff.
My mother's last name is different, so you know.
You already
That's
know
facts.
that part,
That's
yeah.
facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I'm really happy to have you here, Mitch, because Efeosa. I'm gonna
That's
keep
cool.
that in mind too.
However you want to call
But
it.
yeah, I'm really happy to have you here today because a lot of the community building that you've been doing in Newark and beyond Newark, Roselle, Elizabeth,
South Jersey,
Philly,
New
you
York,
all over the place.
yeah.
You all over the place. So, like I was saying, like the community building that you're doing is essential. And you know what? Before I even go there, how are you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing good, you know. And I think I'm in a point of clarity. This young brother was very present at the time of my pop's transitioning.
I see.
He ended up documenting, I guess what Americans would call a repass.
I see.
And that till now, that from that point till now, a lot lighter emotionally, right? Like understanding that I can show up in all my emotion and not just like get it done Mitch or happy Mitch. It's like all of the emotions can show up and it has to be accepted, you know? So it allows me to be a lot lighter. So yeah, current day, I'm feeling light.
That's good. That's good. How's your health in general?
I think it could be better. I think I could move more. I think I could spend less time worrying about making money and stuff like that. But you know,
Yeah.
Worrying about Efeosa.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've been at work. I bring my my workout mat and I kind of get stretching and trying to do push-ups and stuff like that.
Word. I be trying to do the 50 every morning.
Yeah, I be trying. At this
Sometimes
point,
it just don't work.
hey, look, and as long as you try again the next day, I think that gets a little better.
Right.
But just trying to be consistent in that. So health-wise, I feel good, but like, you know, 99-degree weathers and all that, we'll see.
How's the family in Nigeria?
Everybody's doing all right. They trying. Nigeria is an interesting place.
Yeah, are they like trying to get here, or are they rocking with like the development and stuff that's going on over there?
My younger cousins, they trying to figure out life, and you know, I think the promotion of America in Nigeria is like the land of milk and honey. We talk about that, and nobody tells them that the milk is spoiled and the honey's coming from hornets, man.
It's cheese. It's yogurt.
Nobody tells them that, so it sucks. But you know, I try to break it to them on WhatsApp, like, "Hey, bro, it's not what you think it is.
It's not what you
You
think,
mean?
yeah.
You got to come here with a real plan.
Yeah.
Even for my brothers and sisters that are here, like,
Yeah.
gotta have a plan. If you don't have a plan, man, this place is lawless.
Word.
Yeah, you can get sucked in and lose your identity very quickly.
fast.
Quick.
Because, I mean, even me, because, you know, I was born in Africa too, you know, East Africa, Ethiopia particularly, but the transitions of places I had to go through to get here, it was a long journey, but just to even after traveling so many places and then finding yourself here and trying to fit into this place, you find yourself having to compromise more than what you expect, to where like you lose so much of yourself that like it's only at a certain point in turning back you're like, whoa, how far have I come? Like, where am I at? And it's so true. Like everywhere I've been in Africa, especially in the city states, not so much in the countryside of things, where the traditions are very alive and well, but in the city states, it like the promotion of that American lifestyle is heavy.
It's heavy.
And people have a very different perception of it, like you said, you know what I mean? It's like, we literally, you know, that's what I was fed. It was like golden honey, literally.
Yeah. Indoctrination is the business of the place we're currently at. So, like, you know, as a part of warfare. So, I know we don't look at it that way, but, like, you know, I think that they push the religion or what, quote-unquote, spirituality. They post... They kind of post the propaganda concept of what history is, you know, and they get you tied into certain concepts that don't have anything to do with you. So it's easy to come here and be comforted and forget about, you know, tradition and what's going on. So it's interesting, man. Interesting place, to say the least.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's growing up in it is something else.
Right.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah,
me
you have a
being
different
born here,
perspective.
having a different perspective on it. Like it was
Yeah.
what I was born on, and now that, you know, looking to the traditions and going to Africa and seeing what it's like there,
Yeah.
realizing that like the perception that they gave us was ridiculous. Like, you know, it's crazy.
But you know, even on that note too, I think for us as the like those who are considered to be like diasporas and stuff, like we have a huge responsibility.
Big one.
One of the biggest things I see going back home is that we don't realize how much of a promotion agent we are ourselves, you know, in regards to, yeah, I mean, like you work hard here, you know, you're on vacation because, you know, you're trying to travel back home, you want to relax, but we don't see the lifestyle that that comes with,
Right.
and the perception that comes with. So when we're there, it looks flashy. It looks like that's how we live our life.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And it's like our people look at that and they're like, man, they really have it good.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but the reality is that I work 9 to 5.
struggling.
I struggle, you know, like I got bills to pay. Like I'm barely talking to family, you know, like I'm trying to make ends meet.
Keeping up with it is ridiculous.
Keeping up with the rat race. And it's like, we never really, well, I don't see it. I can't really speak for everybody, but for the majority aspect of what I see when I've been traveling, like I don't see that perception being open to them so that they're aware and then they can stop and kind of like think like, wait a minute, this is the information that I've been getting all this time, but somebody that went there from here, lived it this way, and is giving me is reporting a different information. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think your cousin coming to tell you that it's not all fun and games is almost like a deterrent more than it is like informative.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like money grows on trees here.
Yeah.
And it does,
Yeah.
right? Like if you come here with a plan and
If you
you
come with
beat
a
that
plan.
plan to the ground,
Yeah.
yes, right? I don't know, man. I talk to my cousins a lot. They hit me up. Hey, if you could send, you know, some
Yeah.
money, things, and all that, right? But at the end of the day, they're not wrong, right? Because I
The
think
value is different.
the value is different, and United States does perception over everything else, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yo, time is hard, everything's wrong, and you get there and your skin is clean and like your hair is growing, you got nice clothes on, and you are keeping appearances, and sometimes it's hard for them to like hear different. Like when my mother goes back, they try to challenge her, but they don't know that she's like she's that person. She is from where she's from. Like, as long as she's been in America, it does not affect her who she is. But they'll challenge her because her skin looks different. And then not that their skin is not clear there, but you just have a certain glow, a certain air about you. And this space is very corrective of history and information, right? And like how you approach things, like having first world issues and then going to I would never call it a third world country, but going through to a concept of a third world country, right?
That's
and those first world problems don't translate well to those people, and they're like, whatever, okay, you know, like.
Your petty problems.
Yeah, you got 2 jobs. I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? Or certain things just don't translate, and I sit with that. Like even when I travel now, like I went to Puerto Rico and we were looking for a driver for like hours, bro. Like trying to find drivers, and the driver we'll call or get on the phone, and you know they'll be like, "Hey, it's my cousin's number. We're gonna give you another number."
Right.
And then you call that person, and they like, "No, I made my money for the day." Right? They're not hustling in Puerto Rico.
They're not.
It's not the goal. The goal is like, hey, I can get a 24 pack of beer. My family is fed. I'm good.
It's a different value system.
My day is okay.
Like the time that I needed to, doing what I needed to, and now I need to do this.
Right.
So that part is done.
That's it.
You can holler at somebody
Here
else.
is like to simplify even now, and I know we just kind of just
Yeah.
shooting, but like conceptually, from what I know, from moving, like getting here, my parents getting here, and then like what they've taught me through just being as Nigerian as you can be, is like family is the only way this works, right? Like
Facts.
community is the only way this works, and we fight against it. And we're down. I told you, indoctrination is the business here.
Yeah.
So like, even the concept of like individuality, what does that mean? Like, what is that? How does that even? Everybody wants a luxury apartment.
Is it
by
real?
themselves. Is it real?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
We used to be roommates, right?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no such thing as your own room.
Yeah, we used to be roommates.
Yeah.
Like I used to share a room with my brother,
Yep.
and now that concept is so foreign to us.
It's crazy.
Even like, hey, I gotta change my living room every 6 months. I can go like we have
Word.
gamified the concept of like living,
Yeah.
and we struggle because of it. We work 10 times harder because of it, because we don't want to say, hey, 3 adults can live in an apartment and we can pay these bills as a collective, right? I could buy a 20-pound bag of rice because we all eat rice,
Exactly.
and that's where I come from.
Right.
So to some of this dialogue I'm having in America, when I see the luxury apartments, I see the Teslas and all of this stuff, and it is hard to not engage sometimes. But also you got to step back and understand, like, yo, it doesn't work by yourself. It does not work at all.
Yeah. Facts.
So
Yeah.
on that note, perfect transition. Like I was saying, like Mitch does a lot of community building, taste making, playlist making, bringing a lot of people together, just to kind of enjoy life together. That's kind of how I've always. That's why I've always rocked with Mitch. And the reason why we Efeosa. And the reason why we mesh so well is because it's something that I've always I kind of always searched for. You know what I'm saying? Me growing up in America and kind of having almost a traditional like American bad story, if you will, like growing up in a very ghetto neighborhood. Like I'm from the hood for real, like Newark, New Jersey. Born into a household where, you know, the grandparents were kind of like out of sync, and not everybody's working together. They trying hard, but there's those principles and those cultural values that aren't there that kind of keep people together, getting adopted. And then through that situation, now learning, like bringing all of the way that it happened, the principles are still there. But because there's not the cultural understanding of how to go about them, you kind of get a lot of things lost in the sauce. You know, the father is out way over there, and it's not like I'm connected to anything or any of the other people that are a part of that family.
Right.
So now I'm a part of my mom's family only. And then the adoption takes it a step further, where this family raised me, which is not a foreign concept. That happens in Africa
1,000%.
all the time. You know what I'm saying? But
Less paperwork, but you know.
Word. But yeah, like it's the cultural parts and pieces that make it so that being roommates and, you know, you buying that 20-pound bag of rice is just something that fits into the normalcy of like real life. And it's not like a crazy situation. So on that note, I want to talk about like what community building really means to you and why you've chosen that to really kind of shape your life around, like being able to give that to other people in this world where we are now. You know, why is that something that you've chosen to be like your focus?
I don't know if I chose it. That's the biggest part about this. I'm raised in it, right? Like I got a big family when it comes down to this. I've been to a lot of 70th, 80th birthday parties. I've been to a lot of weddings, right? I've been to a lot of celebratory spaces on all levels, right? I've been to, my house has been the apartment party house.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? We used to have parties in George King Village in the towers. You know what I'm saying? So like, to conceptually, like moving from Brooklyn to Newark, I've always seen that. We've always gathered, right? So for community, I think the biggest thing that I've learned that has pushed me to kind of like build community is that my family wouldn't be here, like owning a house, me being a great uncle now, or however that works. My nephew has twins.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be in this space if it wasn't for community, right? They lived. My auntie Esther, lives in Yonkers. They all lived in an apartment, like us included, a 3-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, and like everybody's good. My uncle Yusum, my auntie Esther, my mother, my father, like they all own houses and are established because like they did the Susu thing. Word. They did the community dollar concept, group economics thing. And it's funny because like I could see my parents, my father back, before he transitioned, and my mother fighting with the concept of like, did they do good or not, right? And I'll be like, yo, y'all did really good. Like if I came to another country at the age of 22 and 23, I don't know if it works. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if
Why do you think that they battled with that though? Why do you think that was even a question?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I think when you become 70 years old, and your friends are passing from old age and like life is lifing, I think you just get into the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, man. I coulda did this better, or we was making this amount of money in the 90s. Okay. We could have positioned, and it's with education of what you know, of like how you could have spent your dollar better or whatever. And I'm like, I always deter them from it and just let them know like, yo, y'all crazy. Like, y'all are insane. Like, it's not supposed to work, bro. Like, it's never coming here. It's never supposed to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, as much as it's all of the things, you can work as many hours as you want. You can party as many hours as you want. For you to be able to have discipline and like raise kids and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You did it.
You did it. Accomplished it. Knocked it out the park. You know what I'm saying? So I think community lives in me through that, through the experiences of that. So like that's how I have to share because that's the only thing I know.
That's big. That's big. So I want to bring you to a fond memory that I have of you at this point.
Interesting.
Where we were at we were at Short Stay Studios. Okay. Shout out to K-Sean. Shout out to Short Stay Studios. Yeah, just flip that camera back on. It just kind of goes off at some point. But yeah, we were at Short Stay Studios at Neighborhood Watch. Neighborhood Watch is you can give us a little.
Neighborhood Watch is, I would say, a community studio transitioning into now a social club for everyday people through niche experiences. Yeah.
Word. So we were at Neighborhood Watch. The movie had played, and we were just kind of hanging out afterwards. And I feel like I don't remember the exact question that I had asked you. It was something along the lines of like, with your father's passing and you kind of going into this new stage where you were saying like there's a changing of the guard that's happened where now you and your generation are in control. What would your father kind of want to see happen from this point on? And you kind of gave me a look and you were like, I'm building a cult.
That's it.
And for a moment I was taken aback. I'm like, what is he supposed to talk about? Like what you mean? Like, but the general topic of the conversation that we went into was like, you know, with all of the bureaucracy and things like that that happen in the creative world, that are attached to community building, there's this way that you have to go about things in order to create this group of intelligence that you want to keep around you. But why did you choose that specific word to say, like, I'm gonna build a cult?
We live in America, and words are given a lot of credit, right? We could say voodoo and everybody goes ooh, right? We say the devil and everybody goes ooh, right? You can almost picture the person I'm talking about when I say the devil, right? And we give credit to words in ways that becomes a little dangerous because it doesn't allow us to interact with the word or what the word is actually doing. And I think when we say cult, we see like white man, blonde hair, being some leader, wearing some drapery garbs or something, right? And a lot of the times we don't get into like defining it. Go just sit and work with the concept of defining it, right? So for me, like, I read a book called How to Build a Cult. Not exactly what you think it is. You go read it if you get a chance, you know. And it really helps you understand organization, right? Like community as a concept, right? And it's a lot of learning that needs to happen, right? Like I throw events and I want people to come and I want people to get comfortable, but there's a lot of learning that needs to happen in order for them to understand like why it's needed, you know? So when I say I'm building a cult, I'm building a space that we kind of, you know, it could be 50 people moving as one, it could be 100 people moving as one, but the concept is to move as one, right? So I don't want to, you know, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to become a cult leader because I don't think that is the goal of what I was saying to you. But like, I can look back to my pops, I can look back to my family, and I can look back to their mini cult that they built in order to get to where we all at. I'm able to sit and talk to my guys and record and talk, you know what I mean, and talk about family and community because of that. I'm able to work the job I work because of that. I'm able to throw the events I throw because of that. So I have to sit with it a little bit more. And I have to get a lot, I think, way more intimate with the concept of building the thing that protects me, that also sustains not just me, but the people around me. And I think that's even how we interact in that way where I'm like, hey, I got whatever resources I got, you got.
Everybody
how do we share it, right? And it's foreign and it's rejected sometimes, and people and some of the creatives in the circle don't take well to it all the time.
It goes back to that thing that you were saying about damn, it jumped right out of my brain as soon as I started talking. But in a general sense, it's like if you don't have the understanding of language to begin with, to know that like somebody saying something, to say the word cult and to hear it, it's not about your perception that other people have built for you of the word or of the concept, but it's more so about the reality of what it is, right? Because cult, culture, you
that's
know,
what it,
so on and so forth. It's a very simple concept to understand,
right.
but the perception, like you were saying, America and the Western world in general is perception first.
Right.
So if the perception that's been built for you already is negative, then that's the first thing you're going to go for. I remember, because Kebtah community, we've been in a community in a so-called conscious, we like to call it the unconscious community, you know, the circles of people who are trying to come closer to some kind of African spirituality, and it's not even just about it being African, but just spirituality and philosophy that goes back into ancient times. You get into those circles, and a lot of the times it's very
surface.
not even surface. It's just real like they take it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
They have that concept too. I'm gonna build a cult,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it becomes Jeffrey Dahmer style.
Yeah.
It becomes
ego first, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and that's, you know, I watched a lot of cult documentaries. Wild Wild Country is one of them, right? And
You seen that movie The Order?
The Order.
It's a movie called The Order. I think it's on Prime. You should watch it.
I should put it
It's
on my-
about it's not the KKK,
Okay.
but it's basically like a concept that's kind of the same,
Mhm.
where there's a Christian community that was in the South that was like white power, you know, over everything. And then there would be like strays that break off
Of course.
and create their own little
That's
organizations.
everything, yeah.
But then they start doing like terrorist things because they're trying to take over. They're thinking like we've lost our power,
Right.
and there's no white power anymore. And now they're trying to sort of reclaim that because of, again, the perception that's been built for them that this is their place. They own this land somehow. Like this
put
is
that
the
on my
earth,
list.
bro.
It's the earth.
like
And
how you own this.
I think that's a personal struggle that I watch, even in the concept of, I know we talking about like community and stuff like that, but watching Wild Country, it shows you how America doesn't do well with community, right? Like the goal is to separate break up the community. Hey, there's too many of y'all over there. What are y'all doing? Let's check, right?
They creating cults anyway.
Yeah, no, all the time.
Right,
And
right.
That's the.
But the narrative doesn't flip in that
Yeah, the
direction.
narrative doesn't flip, and as long as it's Christianity, or as long as it's something that people feel safe with, and that's why the words, we got to kind of go a step further to be able to say, I'm uncomfortable. Now what, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's the
Instead of
step that
saying
they never
like
get to.
Kebtah, whoa, what's that? Y'all trying to start a
Right.
No, be
Right.
uncomfortable. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
Investigate.
allow the rest, right?
Yeah.
What is the conversation after? What questions do you have? Do you want to learn a little bit more, right?
Yeah,
Do you want to engage in conversation about it? I think that is where community for me is something that I'm rooted in way more, because I get it. I can stand and see like, hey, a lot of my friends and associates and people around me are not doing good. Whether it's like mentally, whether it's financially, whether, you know, and I'm seeing it from a stance of, damn, if we were doing this thing together, I don't think that we would be having so many other issues, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So back to what I was saying with the Wild Wild Country. I watched Wild Wild Country, and it was one of those documentary series that affected me, right? Because I've heard, you know, black people organized in Oklahoma, Tulsa riots,
Right.
Philadelphia. I can go, you know, to all of the spaces. I studied a lot of that stuff. But to watch somebody to come from India and start to collect all people, right? It's not about black power. It's not about white power. He got doctors. He got aero engineers, all types of people.
What's his name?
Rajneesh.
Rajneesh.
Yeah, and then his right hand woman in the collective, she ended up going to Montclair University, and once she graduated with her master's, he had to move from India because he was bringing all of these people from other countries into India and into his compound, right? And they were becoming citizens. And
Word.
these are people that, you know, are millionaires. These are people that are geniuses, all types of people. And he ends up moving over to Oregon. Even getting into it with like Nike a little bit, funny enough, to if you sit with
That's
that.
interesting.
But they build out a community, they build an airport, a hospital, all of the things.
Right,
Like
right.
one of those things where I had to sit and watch it from like, hey, let me not worry about how it ends. I know exactly how it ends because in America it doesn't work that way. You can't do that.
Get it out of here.
But it made me sit and say, like, damn, warfare is this thing that we always see as like military and guns and shooting, but sometimes warfare is kind of like the act on people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And to see them build up a small town in the middle of nowhere, and then, you know, the powers that be shut it down, and then they say, hey, don't worry, we'll go into a small town, and then we'll do it the way y'all, this is your rules that you wrote,
Yeah.
and we'll knock on everybody's door, and we'll buy their houses, and you know, we'll make some of these guys police officers. We'll have our personal security. We'll have these people apply to be in the hospital. We'll have these people apply to be in service for whatever other reasons. And they took over a small town.
Wow.
And when you watch that documentary and you see the end, and you know, like their hotel gets bombed and all types of stuff,
Right.
it's really a conversation about what is wrong with, what's the matter with community,
Right.
right?
What's the problem with
What's the
any
problem
other
with
any other
community?
culture
Right.
or cult now coexisting within yours, which you says is supposed to be good for everybody. You create this perception that it's supposed to be good for everybody. Anybody can come here. It's the world of milk and honey.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has opportunity to do what they want.
Don't do it your way though. Don't do it
forget
your
about
way.
the way that I told you to do it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you bring it all up because the Kebtah, you know, it's Kebtah community really. That's the overarching organization, and you know, we're doing similar work, and it's interesting now because are you familiar with Burkina Faso?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you know what was going on over there, right?
1,000%.
So
1,000%. Yeah.
at this point, it's like, man, it's crazy to be a part of this history where now the focus is going somewhere else, or at least it has for a little while, right? Because it's even starting to kind of like level out now. I feel like the rush of information that was coming, that was saying like, yo, look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, is starting to level out, and possibly at some point it's going to start to slow down and people are going to forget about it. But what Kebtah community is doing is trying to keep it going with a level of like awareness to keep people aware of the fact that like that culture that he built up in Oregon, right? For people to understand you can come together for something that's good, that's sort of in juxtaposition to what's happening here, but you don't have to necessarily be a threat to it.
Right.
You're just trying to do something that's good. It's crazy now to see like the like what Master Naba has done, the Makaru Naba Musamona Denibig, is continuing that same kind of work where now we're getting to a point where what's happening in Burkina Faso is a shining example of what more of those so-called third world countries have been able to do all this time.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of them have been doing, but in their own way, on their own time. Now Ibrahim Traore is standing up and saying like, I could do it y'all way and I could do it better.
Right.
Yep.
Because I actually have the cultural understanding of what's happening, right? Like giving free healthcare or just free birth,
Right.
right? Like that's
huge. It's like historical.
it's ridiculous in the first place to have to think like I'm gonna have to go to the hospital and then they're gonna try to force a C-section on this woman that's about to give birth in order to get another bag out of it.
Right.
Whereas like somewhere like Burkina Faso, they just understand it completely differently. Like my wife just went over there and gave birth to our baby girl, and it's crazy like seeing the difference in the way that the care is given. Like I was saying earlier, like I'm adopted and it's a crazy situation here, but my wife is giving birth and it's people that we don't know, like even on the plane on the way there, like I'm not asking anybody to help me with the kids.
Right.
Nobody's asking for it, but there's people like, okay, pick up this kid, sit him next to me, make sure they have what they need, make sure they get their spoon and all of these kinds of things on the plane, so that the parents can at least handle whatever they got going on over there. It's the just going back to the cult thing again. It's like that culture that those people have been born into and know how to live. That's what we want to spread more.
Right.
And it's just.
So I got a question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It all boils down to like education.
Right.
Even hearing your story, you received education from your family.
1,000%.
And that's even like something we get, through the initiation, is that education is something that's supposed to come from family.
Right.
Like we have a misconception of education here in this society. We
Right.
have instruction,
Right.
which is why we have institutions.
Training, right.
Things,
You know what I mean?
Some of the things in here
Yep.
also make what you do look bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, whoa, what do you do? What do you talk? Like, even having the conversation in the house with my mom is constantly up on what's going on in Africa, all parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Just as of recently, just being more and more aware of these things.
Yeah.
And we always talk about like the leadership problem in Nigeria,
Yeah.
right?
West Africa.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
And it sucks because that's one of those places that when you get there, you understand on another level that if these people ever were to get on one accord, good night.
Word.
Good night. Nobody would be able to come get money. Nobody would be able to come and extort the people or misinform. But they're doing a great job of like indoctrination. Indoctrination is coming in and saying like, this is what you're gonna learn, right? Hey, we're not telling you anything. We've infiltrated your school system, right? Of how you learn. And don't get me wrong, I think West Africa has geniuses on top of geniuses. But what ends up happening, those people go to the UK, those people come to America, and then that dog-eat-dog culture, right,
Exactly.
doesn't allow the doctor to come back and say, hey, I'm starting this thing. They could, but it is frowned upon a little bit, right?
Like, why would you come back?
Why would you come back? Or it's the same concept of I got rich and I'm coming back to the hood, right? It's a dangerous ploy because I'm hungry and you look like steak is the concept, right? And I think that sometimes one building community, right? I am trying to be super intentional. I don't mind a room full of 30 people. Like, I think you've seen me in so many different, he's seen me in so many different points of myself, right? I could throw a 300-person party. It's not bothersome, right? I do have a gift of building community. He's also saw me in a room full of 15 people or a room full of 20 or 30, you know what I'm saying? And I've been a lot more patient in building the rooms than I've ever been because I think that I don't want come one, come all.
Word.
Right?
Word.
And that is what has changed in the 10, 11 years of me doing this, is I don't mind 15 people showing up. Right?
And the funny thing about it is that it's still come one, come all, but you gotta be on the same.
This is the window you can get in. And if you're gluttonous and you can't fit through the window, hey, look, I'm not stopping you, but now I've been doing a niche thing, right? Of like, hey, I'm going to give out groceries, right? And I'm gonna collab with my brother because my brother is doing a thing, and I'm like, hey, I need some chefs, I need this, and I want to be able to. For the people that don't have addresses, we got warm food for you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, for the people that have addresses, we got fresh produce for you, and this is how you can play around with the produce we are giving you. I think I sit in those ideas a little longer, or my brain works that way for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that I would rather 10 people lock in and be like, hey, Mitchell Marketing, you doing a thing, and I really like it, right? And now I don't want to go, and I'm not trying to stop nobody from going to the club and popping bottles and all that stuff, but like group economics for me works a very specific way. If you can go and have 10 jokers come to the club and put up $100 and put and buy $1,000
right. The
bottles and juice and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Can you put? Can 10? You know what I mean? Can 10 people put up $100 to go figure out something else, right? Something that sustains them.
Yeah.
And that's just the place I've been where I'm just watching. Like, I work at a homeless shelter. I work at a youth emergency shelter specifically, right? And then the greater good is I work in a homeless shelter, housing, right? And I'm looking at everybody and I'm like, oh, it's lack of education, right?
Yeah.
Some of it is just, and it's nobody's fault. It's not a fault system. It's not wrong or right, like I was saying earlier. It's not wrong or right, because you know, West Africans can be judgmental in that way, where like it's like, why y'all just go to work and all that? And I'm in a space where I'm like, oh no, it's an educational issue. Yeah. Right? It stems from not having, right? And then fear. Yeah. Fear is the biggest part of it, right? Yeah. Community don't work for me because I asked one person one day and they didn't do it, and now nobody does it. Yeah. Right? And it's a lot about mentality. So for me, when I'm building community now, it's like, hey, is your mentality the same as mine? Yeah. Hey, I might not have the money this time, but I'm gonna have some money for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but can we barter? Can we work together? Can we figure it out at the end of the day? Ask me for what you need and I'll get it to you. Yeah. Hey, you need some groceries? I can get some groceries to your crib. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when I'm doing it, I'm noticing that a lot of people are just, they bought into what this is, what America is. It's beautiful, man. It's like those rose-colored glasses where you just see everything and it makes you feel good, and you can stay in that. But realistically, like the amount of stress that you put yourself through a day, no, it's not worth it.
I want to ask you, on that note, like, you're African, so you understand the way of like hierarchy and how things like that work. Like you have a family name, and then you understand the changing of the guard. You understand like it's now my responsibility to take this forward and move it forward for somebody that came before me to do the things that they did for me in order to have other people be able to benefit from it. But now you have this, I like how this conversation is building, like the difference between all of these different cultures and subcultures within this community that you're trying to get to work as one. How do you feel about like disagreements and still being able to work? Because that's something that I feel like Africans are actually very, very, very good at. Like being able to disagree but still somehow figure it out. Like I don't see that as much. Like me being having grown up here, the disagreements turned into big space, and now it's like I don't see you at grandma's house no more. The cookouts ain't even happening
1000%
at grandma's house no more. So like, how does that? What do you think?
We are blunt. Say it how you see it. You have gained weight. You are the like you understand that? Tell them. Say it how you think it, right?
Word. Straight up, I tell you, fat.
And leave room for context later, right? Word. We are judgmental because we are seeing what we're saying. We're not trying to judge you. And if that context helps understand West Africans, right? A lot of the kids we stress because your mother will tell you gaining weight, but it's the literal thing that is happening. Right. I think with us being blunt, I think with us being loud, right? Yeah. Because we come from community, we come from being in a room with 50 people. So talking loud is not trying to. You're getting your point across because you are in community, right? Yeah. Right. I think what it translates to is, what is frustration? What is Yes, we're disagreeing,
Yeah.
but the end goal does not change because we disagree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think, and this is not to speak on America, right? But I live here, and I do the things. I think we can approach things from a fear, this antitrust approach of like us feeling out who is around us.
Yeah.
And it sucks because we are blunt. We are the same. We're tethered in that way where we can't untether. It'll never happen. They could whitewash.
Yeah.
They could delete history. And we're tethered in a way where like, yo, black people be loud. We blunt. We give it up how we give it up.
Yeah.
Same. It don't separate, right?
When the facade falls away,
You know what I'm
see the real
saying?
person come out. Yeah. That's so
The
true.
thing that I do see in the community that I work with, in the community that I create too, is that we don't have room for error, right? It's a fear there to be wrong, or it's a fear there to be right. It's a fear there to be actively doing a thing. It's a fear to, it's a fear and it's a lack of, right? We start things for the wrong reasons, right? We start our businesses not to sustain our family, but to prove our mother wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We start businesses to
I have to hit the bomb for that one.
we start businesses and we start the thing because we want to prove somebody wrong, right? Because we come from abundance, but the state of abundance that we need to be in order for an argument not to deter us from the thing is usually rooted in like the lack, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I've been around a lot of Nigerians in my lifetime, right? And like, even if we lack, it don't matter, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that our know-how allows us to approach all situations as if we know already, right? And I can speak personally to the black community. I don't know about everybody else, but in the black community, I sit sometimes and I can watch us destroy the interpersonal relationships in the family. We destroy them. Like, hey, this person had an argument, and instead of like, all right, we argued about something, I don't think that our end goal for our arguments are the same as in a Nigerian household. The goal is money, then the goal is money.
Word.
So it's like, hey, we argued, but like, who had the better concept to get to said money?
And there's other people in the room to contribute to the end of where that what it gets to in terms of like, all right, we could all disagree that this person shouldn't have the money. But if what they did the last time that they had the money was good for everybody, then give them the money.
Give them the money. Also, tradition, right, and hierarchy is a lot different in a West Africa, right? Where like, hey, my father is the oldest of his brothers. So say so is like, I might not even respect what you're saying, but
Bingo.
the way this tradition works, right?
Right.
They're gonna trip on me. If I come here thinking that I can overstep who the oldest is, right? And I think in our communities, in the Newarks, in the Jersey cities, in the Atlantic cities, in the the Trentons, I think that sometimes we don't have something to look towards, like a platform or a standard of living, right, to look for. So sometimes the arguments are just that. It's about being right or wrong, right? And I'm like, hey, right or wrong, for me, is not always the goal. And I think that when I do, if I'm in the house and I'm speaking about something, it's like, hey, I got a plan. This is the plan. You're trying to be right. That's fine. Be right. I'll talk to you in a few days. We'll get back to it. It's something I picked up here though, like being Nigerian American or whatever that means and all these terms. Getting to like, hey, I didn't speak to somebody in 3 months because we had a falling out. I'm not used to it Because I'm used to just being like, yo, I'm gonna call you in a few days. We'll get past it.
Right.
And then more and more getting into my adulthood and understanding that, like, yo, you start to stiffen and tighten and become a little bit what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? You just become hardened.
It's almost like you end up as a fraction of yourself.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
Because now you're removing that aspect where you can actually work with this person but not agree with everything that they're saying.
Right.
And then it takes away from your intelligence because now you don't have what it takes the next time that you meet that situation with somebody else, somebody completely different.
Right.
It's a principle in life, period, to come up against challenges and disagreements and things like that. But when you retreat from it rather than, all right, I'm gonna work through this and figure it out. I'm not gonna let too much time pass because that time passing, eventually, like you thinking it's something completely different. You like, why is this happening to me in the world? It's the conversation that you had with Auntie, 6 months ago, that's haunting you, and you're not even paying attention to it because of the forgetfulness. I was talking to Zawaz about it earlier. Yeah. It's like the reality is, it's a principle in life that normally people don't forgive each other. They just forget. Yeah. I was watching a movie. What's that movie called? Don't Blink.
Okay.
Did you see it? Channing Tatum. It's a good movie. But at some point in the movie, the antagonist of the entire movie, he's like a millionaire, and he had a bad moment where he did something that was wrong, and he did the whole public apology thing. He did it several times, and then towards the end of the movie, there's like a very serious portion where one of the women that I think he had did something to in the past, but she had forgotten about it. They were going through like another situation, and he was like, I'm sorry. He said it like 10 times over and over again. And he was like, I could say it in every different tonality of my voice. I could use different words. Nobody forgives. People don't forgive. They never forgive. People only forget what happened. And if they forget what happened, then you can get far enough away from the situation to start something new. But I said that to say, like, I've been thinking a lot about this concept that one of my mentors brought up in a class, where it's like there's the concept of intelligence and then there's dynamism. And in Kebtah community, learning from the indigenous people in West Africa, you learn that intelligence is like a big thing. You got to be able to not just be smart, but be intelligent in the way where whatever's standing behind you is here in the room right now. And it's the reason why your thoughts are your thoughts, right? And if you can't reason, because the dynamism part of it is where it becomes very slippery. Being dynamic is, even the word dynamic, I looked it up after that class. The word dynamic is both an adjective and a noun. And that language, that messing up of like the American, the English language, in the way that one word can have two purposes, now it's twisting it up where I could say that we have a dynamic.
Yeah.
It's foolish, but you can say it in the English language. But the concept of dynamism itself is about being able to turn something into something else, or have one thing maybe serve two purposes, or sort of. But then in the English language, it's like I can switch it, I can change it into something that it's not. And that's where it becomes slippery.
Yeah, very slippery.
Because
that's even where you have the whole like using words in and out of context.
Exactly.
Which then brings us, back into another concept we have called barbarism. You know what I mean? Because it's like now you're not speaking through clear concept. Language loses its purpose completely at that point. And then it's like now it becomes a destructive thing.
Right.
You know.
But the dynamic itself is like you got to be able to shift and move around and adjust and change. Change is a natural principle. But if you don't have the intelligence to go with it, then the change can take you away from the goal completely.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to move past what you feel about the situation. You can use what you feel about the situation to change the dynamic to whatever you want it to be, rather than following the intelligence that says, if what he did with the Susu money last time he had it was good, give it to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Where, now we use the concept of that dynamism and what he was talking about, that barbarism, to say, like, I had a falling out with my mom and now it's over. Like, I don't want to have a relationship with my mom. The intelligence is that, nigga, your mom is your mom.
Right.
Yep.
Period. She always going to be your mom.
Right.
Here or not.
And she might have some information that will be super helpful to you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to be able to throw the baby out with the bathwater is the over current day is like, cancel it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't I don't like how it's going.
Word.
Destroy it. And
Yeah.
it's like, no. Yeah, get there. You could be angry about it. You could be sad about it, whatever the thing is. But then context after. Gotta be able to ask the questions after the fact, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks because I think in this day and age, that feeds into the individualism, right? The concept of like, get away from the people. Don't let them get too close anymore, and we're becoming less intimate. And not necessarily sex, right?
Yeah.
But intimate in a way of like, yo, let's have a conversation for conversation purposes, but also like conversation for growth, like for learning. Hey, I need to learn you in order to get better at this thing. Right?
Yeah. But I mean, this for me falls back to what you said, which like was like a big point for me, right? Just even as an African coming from the East, seeing also the problems that we're having in regards to the pride issue. We don't really know how to work with each other, and kind of trying to identify like what is literally that common denominator. And then it's kind of like you mentioned it, because we have it here too. It's the loss of us not having something to look up to anymore. It just becomes like, okay, this is what I look up to.
Right.
My individual understanding of things, my individualism, like how I feel, especially in a emotionally driven society, right? So when we lose that thing where it's kind of like, for us Africans, like we come from tradition, culture, and all that. So every decision I make, I have to be like, well, this just doesn't affect me. This is going to affect everybody.
Everybody.
You know what I mean?
1,000%.
And then as a result of it affecting everybody, like everybody's going to deal with me. And then there's like this concept of shame that sort of puts things in check, right? Not like, because we don't judge to demoralize you. You know what I mean? Like it's never.
Shame is
like it's necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like I can honestly say that I've never experienced judgment from where I come from as a mechanism that's like being used to demoralize you. It's always like a course correction. Stop, think.
Remoralizing.
You know what I mean? Thank you.
Right.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
So it's something like that. So it's kind of like even when it comes and it hurts, you're just like, oh yeah, maybe I do need to think about this. Maybe I am kind of overstepping things, because again, it falls back to what even Kenny Bosch was saying, because there's a natural understanding that I have things to look up to, even in our disagreement. Like there's things standing behind you. I'm not just disrespecting you. I'm spitting on a lot of things that, consequences later down the line are not going to be to my favor. You know what I mean? So, and then vice versa. So then it's like, okay, yeah, right now I can't get past my human process, so maybe I do need to step away and just rethink everything.
I wanna put out a question. I look at this because I'm community is something I study now. It's not even just like, hey, I'm doing it actively. Yes, I'm in the mud figuring it out, but I'm also like, hey, let me pick this book up and really get to it. Let's speak about Black community, right? Like, how do you see it developing, right? If you were in charge, say you were the president of the Black community, if that is a thing, right? And it's like, hey, we have to make a list of standards for us, right? What are some of the things you think we would have to put in that list? as a course corrector, right? Like, for us to not worry about anybody else, just us, right? First, let's stand up and build this thing.
Yeah.
What are some things you would throw in the pot as a standard?
I would say first, you gotta realize that what you think of as black right now is fake. It's fake. It was made for you, and
they did a great job. They did a great,
It's the perception
amazing
game.
job.
Yeah.
The guys that are, let me tell you something, bro.
Behind the screen.
We have to go far. Keep going.
ridiculous.
Amazing job, though, guys.
It's
Whoever
fake
did it.
because there's actually a lecture, risingfirefly.org. Master Naba went to New York, and this is in the 90s when the whole unconscious community was really getting their rocks off.
Are you talking about the New York lecture?
Yeah.
Oh man, that
it's
was
like
crazy.
the first time
I recommend that, by the way.
this many people were trying to reclaim their heritage,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like we're black, but they're doing the thing where it's like black has to do with America.
Yeah.
Very much so.
When did you forget what you were going towards if you're trying to reclaim your blackness?
Or where you
and
come
you want
from.
to wear the African garb, you want to talk about the Medu, the original languages and all this kind of stuff, but you're somehow saying that it's about being here.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being here.
So
Like,
undo indoctrination is what you're saying?
I think that's the first thing that needs to be broken for people to understand. Like, if you're claiming to be black, then what is black?
Right.
Where did
Define
the
it.
blackness?
Define it for me.
Not even define it. Where did it start?
Right.
Yeah.
If you could get to where it started and say like, okay, if that's where it started, if we could say it's ancient Kemet, it's Egypt, it's the pyramids. If you don't do the work to say like, all right, that's blackness, that's what I'm going towards, that's what I want to be. Where is it now?
Right.
Yeah.
What does it look like in the world now?
How far off are we from?
Where they were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where does it live now? At the end of the day, a lot of those people went to Africa, or they met somebody that was from Africa that was here in the States now, and decided like, okay, I'm gonna take you on as a teacher, but again, because of the culture that you've been fed while you were here in America, you decided like, I'm gonna take the pieces and parts that I like,
I'm gonna tie it into.
I'm gonna turn it into a cult here. I'm gonna get my rocks off on being the one who took some time to learn a few things, and then use those few things to fuel my own agenda.
You kind of lose yourself
Instead
in it. Yep.
Right. Like Kebtah community, the biggest thing is
Christianity. No, my bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, hey, you calling it up for what it is.
said it.
It is what it is.
But it is. It's just what it is.
Said it.
And it's not a shot at any spirituality, but
Nah,
it's the
at
concept of like
At all.
when man touched religion, or doesn't, I don't even know what that means, but that, don't get me started.
But yeah, like there's just I think that there's a complete disconnect from what a lot of people think they mean when they say that they're black or that they're a part of the black community. So then why is it that when there's a community like the Sinhalese people in Brooklyn, why aren't you deciding like, okay, they might be there in Brooklyn, but we're calling them there. That they're Sinhalese. Where does their history go? Will you ever visit them and learn their culture so that you can be a part of that?
Yeah.
Right.
And then continue to serve it. That's the thing.
Yep.
We were just having a meeting with one of the eldest initiates of Kebtah community, and he was talking about devotion and how like devotion has a lot to do with like service. If you're devoted to being black and pushing this narrative of like it's for us by us, then why aren't you taking it a step further to realize like even those black people in ancient Kemet, it wasn't like it was them and no one else in the world.
Right.
They went to
It was never a physical territory.
Mesopotamia. They went to Mexico. They went everywhere and built the culture up continuously for humanity. It wasn't ever about the color of your skin. The Greeks were able to come. They could learn what they learned. Plato did a lot with it. But he never gave the credit back to those people or served that same culture. Because, again, blackness, I don't think it has anything to do with the color of your skin. I don't think it has anything to do with the clothes that you wear. It's the intelligence, it's the dynamism to know like the world is changing, but that blackness that you're looking for, it's in the same place.
Right.
It's maintained itself. If you don't go to it and learn from it in order to serve it, then you're not really black.
Because I mean, like, if I'm to piggyback off of what he's saying, because that's literally where I was gonna go, is like we have to get like over this like trying to reinvent the wheel kind of situation. Like, there's nothing new underneath the sun. Like, humans have been here for a very long time.
Very long time.
Our ancestors have discovered, lived everything that we're even thinking, you know, at this point. And it's like, but where does that culture reside? Where does the civilization or the origin of a civilization reside? Like, if we're not looking back to get a thorough understanding of even what that pinnacle of civilization has discovered about human nature, then we're not going to know. We're just recycling information and like, let me try this on my time. Let me try that on my time. And relying on, I think, so much like trial and error in a time span that is so little compared to this time span that has been spent throughout, you know, human history. So for me, like, culture is everything, because even when we look at culture, we're talking about what's being cultivated in the human.
Right.
Like, what are you cultivating, right? And then we look at the cultures that are around us nowadays, and it's like, it's a very new age thing. It's like modern contemporary agreements. Right. And there's flavors of so many different things. It's an experiment. Like, we're all guinea pigs to it.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing that it doesn't really work.
Right.
Like, one is coming with an idea, tries it, fails. One is coming with an idea, tries it, fails. And then we keep seeing rise and collapse of different civilizations throughout history.
No matter what.
No matter what. So if we're not looking at the origin of where as humans we're coming from, even looking at indigenous people, like, they're still living with nature in harmony. Like, start there to be like, okay, there's a cohesion and a harmony with the natural order of life. What are these people preserving? You go talk to these people, all they talk about are the things that they look up to, their ancestors, the divinities, the things that are in charge of the natural environment. So it's like, okay,
World law of like, take care of the thing that takes care of you.
Thank you. Like, the freaking common sense. You know what I mean?
Hey guys.
But then even when you really go deep and you kind of investigate further, you get to the exposure that we as humans don't invent. So then that right there stops the whole game.
Right.
Like, if I don't invent, what am I doing? You know, like, because every idea, anything that I can conceive is only coming from a result of whatever I've been exposed to. And then you write that down properly, sequentially, and honestly throughout history, you begin to see that there's off things in history. And I'm just a product of that offset. But I need to readjust myself, especially when I'm saying, like, my identity, you know? So if, as a black person, you know, I don't really like to use that label either, but I have to look at where I'm originating from. And there's a culture there. It's alive, it's living, it's well. There's a community. Even the way the function of a community comes, it's from a concept.
It's already from a concept.
You know what I mean?
That
So
works.
that's what we look at, and we replicate that. You know, because again, like, I love what he brought up, because it's like, it was never a physical territory. It was a cultural territory. So then it was everywhere where the culture was. But when the culture is lost, now you know, to change the narrative or the perspective, you oh no, it's physical territory.
Yeah,
Not physical territory fell apart.
To make it
Thank
smaller,
you.
though.
So that's what I would, you know, hint at.
I think everything can happen after that, to be honest. Like, that's the big thing. Like, I know you've seen Sinners. The whole way that the Irish and you know, black communities kind of identify, like, we got a sister named Tiasta She whiter than the lights in this room when it comes to her skin.
Skin tone, yeah. But
She in Burkina Faso right now,
Mhm.
learning from that culture. She blacker than a lot of the black people that I run into on a daily basis.
well, that I don't know, man. I'll be wanting to talk about warfare, right? Like
Yeah.
the concept
about
of
it.
war, right? I think that's what's happening to us on a daily basis. I
Yeah.
think we're the only group also that's happening to.
Yeah.
When I say black, right, with the air quotes, it is a constant warfare. Nobody's shooting at us, but they are.
Yeah.
But food, information,
Yeah.
is just warfare is constantly happening to us, right? And I sit with that some days, and it angers me to say back to my community, like, hey, how long can warfare happen to you and you be docile and you be and you allow it, right? It's not about fighting.
Participating in it.
Yeah, you're anticipating. You're almost making room for it, right? And I watch warfare happen to us. I watch like us be marketed to. Us, our school systems dictate to us what we learn, right? And to take back over, and I guess what I would add to the pot, right, is to establish, like, I think we throw around the concept of education, but we don't establish in detail, right? I'm big on defining as of lately, like define it, like love, define it.
Yeah, like concept.
Community,
Yeah.
define it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Makes sense.
my version of it and your version of it is different, we know why we might be disconnected on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just watching us struggle with so many concepts, like y'all are saying, like we're being taught, we're indoctrinated from pre-K or whatever the school system says, right? But like, I'm Nigerian.
Yeah.
So when I come here, it is nobody, no leader pushing for my goals for me, right? And my culture,
Yeah.
right? There's nobody upholding my language. It's nobody upholding how to cook this said food or our recipes and cookbooks.
Right.
And you have to almost act as what you see. Like when I think about Italy and how they, I don't know how good they're doing at it now currently, but hey, champagne is made in Champagne. To keep culture and to say, hey, before this is allowed to be slutted out and given to the world, you have to come
Get
through
the
this.
authenticity of it.
This is the role. This is the road you have to go through in order to get to this.
Right.
And I think that in so many different ways, when I just watch like warfare happen to us and we don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I talked to my mother about like education first, right?
Yeah.
Education here for Nigerians, and I can only speak for us, should look like, hey, when we get here, summer camp. And summer camp, and other people do it. I watch it, but it's like, hey, summer camp should be what is money? What is our culture, religion, history, blah 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 blah, and then summer camp shouldn't be Lake Whillatonka with the white camp counselors, right?
It should be the noodly goofy shit.
You should be holding intact what your information is, right? So
that's what the campfire is supposed to be for,
right? You know what I mean? For your grill to be able to pass the story, right? But what ends up happening is we learn all of this watered down, passed around concepts, and I think a lot of the black bodies that fall into the concept of like, hey, I'm black. Even when you say it out loud, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, hey, I need more, right? And it's a lot of people yearning for the information, but we don't have our own standard manual. And the warfare is winning, right? Because year by year by year by year, you hear the things like, yo, Essex County or Newark school systems is at a third grade reading level. And you're like, how did we get there?
How?
You know, there's a
When do we get there?
there's a perspective I want to share, right? In light of our conversation of like not reinventing the wheel and all this, and like going back to indigenous cultures, they have a very, like, almost a majority of indigenous cultures you interact with, especially in Africa, they're very spiritual,
Right.
like very, very spiritual. They have a concept of what you would consider like corrosion, right? Like corruption. Like it's really coming from the concept of corrosion. Like, you know, even like when a metal corrodes.
Right.
And it's like we as human beings, because we're living so outside of the natural boundaries of nature, we're like corroding. And that corrosion is affecting kind of like what you mentioned, like in the beginning, which is kind of like mental health. Like there's like an epidemic, like it's everywhere.
1,000%.
We know a lot of people who are dealing with mental issues, even to some degree we might even be.
Right.
We don't even know
Yeah.
because we don't have a gauge, really, right? And it's kind of like when you look at it from that perspective, it's like we're all affected by this. It's not necessarily like affecting like a specific demographic of people, but it's like in general humanity is affected by that. You know what I mean? So then when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, yeah, sick people are always going to do sick things. You know what I mean? And it's not going to get any better until we sort of look back into the core of even like what makes us human. You know what I mean? And then tap back into those things and then reconnect with the cultures that took that into consideration and bring that back into our lives, right? Because we have so many different groups and cultures here, like subcultures, and you know, where we don't have these elements like highlighted and connected to something original,
Right.
something that even brings us closer to nature,
Right.
and be able to understand, okay, yeah, like we're living a very different kind of life, and these are the consequences of maybe like the way we're consuming on the planet, the way we're, you know, like living our lives, the lifestyles that we're choosing, right? So it's kind of like when we get that exposure, it gives everyone a chance, not just a group of people, but everyone a chance to stop and reflect and be like, where are we really going? Like, what's the rush? Like, science is in a rush. Like, where are we really trying to go? What's the destination? Because every path has a destination.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? So, but what is that destination? And to define that destination, and does that destination come from, did we make that decision, or did it start long before us? So I think until we make that connection, it becomes very difficult to understand the complexities of the warfare we're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's on so many levels, and it's on so many different, you know, cultures and different like demographics of people. Like it, on all levels, we're very like unstable as humans.
1,000%.
So, I would say that to say like I think until we really start going back to what makes us human, like the spiritual element of ourselves, it's gonna be a very difficult thing to really solve. You know what I mean? And really like have that honest reflection of like, we're not taking care of the things taking care of us.
Right.
And what do you expect when that happens? You know, like it's going to be nothing but like sickness and turmoil and problems after problems that are just unnecessary, you know?
Right.
So.
And the hard part, you know, for me now being a father is that I'm realizing now, like Mitch was talking about with his dad, is like the changing of the guard is going to happen.
Has to.
No matter what. It's a natural principle. It's going to happen. And if we don't figure it out, just from that sort of restructuring your thought, the kids are just going to keep like suffering from the same things.
Right.
So I also want to shout out what you're doing with Mentor Nork, because doing what you did for sort of like our crowd, you know, the certain age group that we're in, and like with Neighborhood Watch, and now Thomas, I connected with Thomas, and he was telling me about like the almost bulletproofing that you get in the world when you're dealing with kids, because you're educating them or you're giving them certain things that they may not even get inside their households. And now you're giving them that to be able to help the community to kind of flourish in the way that it needs to. It's imperative, man. So how do you feel about like the way that mentorship kind of blends into everything that we're talking about with like community and you know, the
mentorship
like
specifically, even going into the Mentor North thing, I think it's so needed on a level of just guidance, just pure like the concept of being guided, right? Mentorship for me, right, looks like someone coming to inform me about something, right, that they have done. Hey, look, the pot on the stove is hot.
Yeah.
Grab this to do that, right? And I'm speaking in a caveman, very general way, but I think that that allows for room for error, right? So like mentorship, where I come from, where it's two roads. It's like left or right, bad or good. Like, hey, you're gonna be a good kid or you're gonna be a bad kid, right? And if you do this middle thing, it's more dangerous than being bad, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's a place that I've watched my friends, associates, loved ones just sit in it, right? I can do this thing by myself. To isolate is one of the most dangerous things I think you can do, or lean on your own understanding, right? Is one of the the worst things you can do. To have almost a sparring partner, somebody that is better than you at this thing, right? I think mentorship really, especially for like young African Americans or Africans growing up in America, figuring out life, the passing of information, for me, is what mentorship is. And I don't know if that's a part of the question of what you're asking me. But like when I see an organization like a Mentor Newark or Harley E. Flack programs, all of these different programs around the Jersey, I work with at-risk youth, and I hate that term. Like, I work with 13 and 17.
What's that, at-risk youth?
At-risk youth is kids that have been arrested in between the ages of 13 and 17. I work with 13 and 17, but at-risk youth is in general kids that have been in jail or a part of some type of recidivism program where they don't want them to go to jail, so they're going to group homes. They're going to alternative programming, youth houses, stuff like that. And I work in that population. And me being a mentor, me being a youth care worker or whatever, right? And being around them and not playing into the let's be friends thing, but like, hey, yo, you need me. And not and it's no ego in that concept. Right. It's literally like, they watch me eat a salad for a week. You know what I mean? And then by the second week, they like, yo, what you order from?
It must taste good.
Just something as simple as being able to see something different from, hey, when I go home to Jersey City and I'm on the Ave, or I'm off of Springfield Ave, or I'm in the South Ward, to see somebody do something different that looks like you, it literally sometimes just like drops a seed, right? And I think mentorship is that, right? Where those small seeds, a seed could be dropped when you're 13, right? And it might not sprout until you're 22, where like, oh, shit, that's what he meant. That's what she meant, right? That's what that exchange was about, right? I watch it now more than ever, and the system I work in doesn't work. But you know, it's people that bring that mentorship concept into it, and they affect the kids. Right, and those kids are helped because of it. But even on I'm 38 years old, and I watch my friends. Some of my friends tell me like, "Yeah, I don't got no mentor." And I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
these roads we're currently navigating, you can either do it freestyle or like guidance starts to sharpen that thing,
Yeah.
right? Being
Yeah.
able to say, hey, I'm Mitch, I do X, Y, and Z. Before, I didn't know, like 10 years ago, I didn't know what this was, right? I'm throwing events. And I still say that now and then, but like more than ever, it's community building, right?
Yeah.
Like this thing has to happen in real life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know who the president of the United States is, right? I don't have to say his name.
Right.
But I do have to understand that they are doing a thing.
Yeah.
And an oligarch system is a concept that if you don't understand it, you should probably go look it up and go figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, nobody's looking out for you.
Yeah.
Word.
So if you want to do this thing by yourself, go ahead. But like,
That's the reality check.
go get to somebody that is a little bit above you
Yeah.
and latch on and hold on, right? And listen to the stories and pull in information and take a book that they have given you and go read it. Because I think
What's that proverb we had?
What?
It's always taking another human to clean another human, right? Or help another human.
You got to get the proverb
Yeah,
right, bro.
I'm trying to remember it. It's so long.
brother.
Yeah.
But nah,
Yeah,
what
but
you're saying
it's
is
along
huge.
that line,
It's
yeah.
huge. It's huge.
It's a thing, man. I'm watching it.
And that's a shameless plug. Kebtah community here in New Jersey is going to be having an orientation for the initiation, because a lot of what you're talking about is just it's a principle in life that the indigenous people know very well, which is at some point you have to go and find another master, and then finding a master, that's how you get to your goal.
Whether you're in Asia, whether you're in Africa,
No matter
where you're at.
Yeah. No
You
matter
gotta
where
find a master and follow.
That's a world law,
Yeah.
right? And those are the things that I don't think that we document, like international language. Dang, y'all on the other side of the world. How y'all know this? Why does you have to find a master always come up? You know what I'm saying? And
It's mentorship, like the real
we
mentorship.
fight, we fight against it.
Yeah.
It might be called a sensei. It might be called a, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
It's a teacher. So yeah, orientation is coming up. Keep your ears plugged. It's coming up in New Jersey. Just try to stay in touch. TheEarthCenter.org. You can reach out, call us here at the New Jersey Temple. Just Google the Earth Center New Jersey, and we'll show up. That's happening. What else? Tomorrow at the Brown Mill Block Party. Crazy event that's always on point. A lot of black people there. I'm going to be showcasing a little bit of work that I did at the Kebtah 30-year celebration this past January in West Africa in Togo, where there was a showcase of just so many beautiful gems that the indigenous people of West Africa still have, as far as like their just their natural abilities, right? Those abilities that come with following your father's work, that come with following your mother's word, that come with staying a part of the community that's built you, whether or not you agree with it or disagree with it. It gives you the power to move forward in your life. So stay connected. Please stay in tune with the things that we have going on. What else? There was something else. Whatever. I'll remember later. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been another episode of the Gator Gates podcast. Again, theearthcenter.org, risingfirefly.org for our publications. Stay tuned, because we're going to be doing some work with Mitch, with Mentor Nork, just reaching out into the community, because that's what it's about, man. If we can't do it together, then we're not really doing it.
At all.
So if there's anything else that you want to drop, anything that you're working on right now, anything you want for the people to come out?
July 26th, You and I Gotta Do for You and I, grocery give back, community day, come out, chill, good music, free produce, free groceries. We are in a time where people call it a recession. You know, we're trying to give back. So July 26th, that's happening. We got a lot of events coming up. We're kind of on a break. We just finished a 12-week event series, so we're just taking a little break to rest. But Neighborhood Watch is coming back. The Writers' Room for singers and songwriters is coming back. In a few programs for just good conversation and building community. So look out for that.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, again, this has been another episode of the Gator Gates podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Mitch Efeosa, for coming out and doing a good job of putting some good thought and some good work and some pride on your father's name.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. So stay tuned, y'all.
Yeah. Is that right?
Hear what the people say. The people of Burkina Faso. The people of Burkina Faso. Making change for tomorrow. The people of Burkina Faso. The people of Burkina Faso. Making a better tomorrow. The upright people are taking back control.